Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
My friend Stephen A. Smith. Steve, good morning. How are you?
What's up, Big Tom? How are you, sir?
I'm
How's
great.
everything?
I'm great. Great to talk to you. You know, I love you, man. I watch you all the time. I love all your stuff, even when I disagree. You and I disagree quite a bit, but, you know,
Absolutely.
You do a good job. You're a common sense guy. You make your case, right or wrong, and I respect you. And Belichick, you and I in the same exact boat. That's ridiculous.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. As a person that's been in sports for over 30 years, as a broadcaster and a writer, a journalist, etc., I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for the industry. I'm embarrassed for the world of sports. There's no excuse for this. And, you know, this man is an 8-time champion. He's a 6-time champion as a head coach. He's universally recognized as arguably the greatest coach to have ever lived. And people are going to bring up Spygate. They're going to bring up Deflategate. They're going to bring up all of these different things. I will remind you, in the aftermath of Spygate in 2007, he's won 3 Super Bowls. So he won 3 Super Bowls beforehand. He's won 3 Super Bowls after. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, no one is. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, the Hall of Fame, you know, did themselves a tremendous injustice because with this having happened, they've lost all credibility. I don't even know how much the Hall of Fame is going to matter moving forward when this flagrant miscarriage of justice is taking place.
Well said. You know, what's similar to that, Stephen A., is Bonds. You know, before Bonds started jacking up in San Francisco and became maybe the most dominant player ever, he looked like Chris Rock, and he won MVPs in Pittsburgh, right? Same thing.
Absolutely. He was a 30-30 guy, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases on an annual basis, a perennial Gold Glover. He was absolutely sensational. But you can make an even stronger argument for Barry Bonds, believe it or not, being a 7-time league, MVP and all of this other stuff. The thing about it is we believe our eyes and what we've seen, the Mitchell report that incriminated him, etc. But Bonds is not somebody that ever tested positive or ever got caught taking steroids or anything like that. So they still weren't able to find that level of definitive evidence. You have some people that are comparing that to Bill Belichick and saying, but Bill Belichick was guilty of Spygate. He was fined $500,000. The Patriots were fined $250,000. $500,000 he was fined, and the Patriots was fined $250,000. Plus, they had to surrender a draft pick. So all of those things were incriminating, not to mention the fact that Commissioner Roger Goodell had destroyed the tapes that would, you know, a lot of people felt would have severely incriminated Bill Belichick even more. So they're using that as an excuse. I'm still saying I don't want to hear that. The man's went to 9 Super Bowls. He won 6. Okay, you're talking about one incident that happened against the former, subordinate, because Eric Mangini was coaching the New York Jets at the time. When you look at the body of his work, the resume that he's accumulated, spanning decades, there is no question that this man is arguably the greatest coach to have ever lived. And he has a resume that absolutely positively shows it. And I think that a lot of people out there are trying to act as if, oh, my goodness, we just wanted to make sure we pushed it back. Well, by pushing him back a year, remember, the Hall of Fame is only allowed to induct 1 coach per year. So by pushing him back, that means you push all the other potential Hall of Fame coaches back, which means the Tom Coughlins of the world and others have to wait an additional year before they get in because the expectation is that Bill Belichick will be let in next year. So you push the process back and you affect not just him, but the lives of so many coaches who are deserving of Hall of Fame stature because they have to wait to get in until after Bill Belichick gets in, and you delayed his entry by about a year. If I'm Bill Belichick, I mean, it's hard for me to say because I'm not him, but I wouldn't even care to be a part of the Hall of Fame. It's that shameful what they've done. It's that disgraceful, and it's that inconsiderate, and it's a blemish that will be perpetual, as far as I'm concerned, forever with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. There's been music stars, Steve, that got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They had their issues with that. They didn't show up. Bob Dylan, I think, didn't even show up when he got the Medal of Freedom or something from the President of the United States. So we've seen people not show up for different things. My gut tells me that Belichick will show up next year when he gets in. But you're right. It's a real terrible job by the National Football League. One more on sports, and I want to get to politics with you.
Sure.
And that is the Knicks. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was convinced we were the best team in the East. We were playing great basketball. I started deluding myself into thinking maybe we can beat the Spurs. We beat them to get the in-season championship. We can beat Oklahoma City. And then it all kind of fell apart. Lately, a little better, yes. But I've lost a lot of that confidence that I had in the Knicks 4 or 5 weeks ago. Should I get it back, or should I be concerned?
No. You should be concerned. You should be concerned.
Well,
you should be concerned because the Detroit Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference. They've got athletes, they've got shooters, they've got defenders, they've got size on their front line, in Duran and Stewart. They got a superstar in Cade Cunningham. And this is one of those teams, Sid, that wants the Knicks badly. They don't just want to win, they want the Knicks.
Yeah.
They want the Knicks. And so when you have that kind of momentum against you, that's a problem. They played the Knicks a couple of weeks ago, beat them by 30. All right.
Yep.
I was supposed to be at the game. Sitting courtside with the owner, and I couldn't make it. And thank God I didn't make it, because if I had flown out there just to watch the Knicks lose by 30, I would have been pretty pissed off. Okay, but I'm telling you, so that's one dilemma. The other is the Boston Celtics, because Jason Tatum is down with his Achilles tear. And Jaylen Brown, their other $300 million man, has stepped up and has played lights out, averaging 29 a game. He's been absolutely sensational, and the Boston Celtics are a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. When you combine that with the fact that Tom Thibodeau is gone, Mike Brown is in, and the New York Knicks are supposed to be better offensively, which they are to some degree, but clearly not the same defensively, you're looking for those guts, that hardcore cardiac kid mentality that the New York Knicks have played with the last couple of years. That doesn't seem to be the case here now with them. So you have every reason to be concerned, because the way it's looking right now, they're not going to be any better than they were last year.
All right, Stephen, one of the things that you and I talked about privately over text was Trump a couple of days ago. He was on this show, again, just 2 days ago, celebrating my 10-year anniversary here at WABC.
Congratulations on that, by the way. I was tied up and I couldn't call him, but congratulations. Great job by you.
Thank you. And you did text me that day, which was very, very sweet. I appreciate that, Steve. I really do. Thank you. But he was on, and he was talking that morning about how, listen, Sid, I actually had not one but 2 phone calls today. We knew he spoke to Walz. He broke it on my show that he spoke to the mayor, Fry. We didn't know that. And he said they were 2 great phone calls. And I said, am I supposed to believe here, President Trump, that there's going to be some type of compromise, which we know did happen, a de-escalation later in the day? Now, as we're speaking, Tom Homan is speaking in the great state of Minnesota. It's still a mess. Fry, after a good conversation, came back and said, yeah, nice conversation, but we're still not going to cooperate. So I don't know how this thing gets any better, but I know you, for example, you tend to look at it both ways. You said, wait a second. The people who are protecting the civilians, the law enforcement people, they should not have to worry about going to work. But you also thought that good, and if I'm wrong, correct me, I'm sorry, you thought good was, in essence, murdered. Is that not correct?
Well, listen, I mean, murder is a hard word, because sometimes when you hear the word murder, it comes with intent. But my point is this. I took a lot of heat from my community and beyond, because I made the point that from a legal perspective, the officer was going to be justified because he was standing in front of the vehicle. There was an officer standing on the side of the vehicle. They asked her to depart from the vehicle, and she tried to drive off, and the officer had to move out the way. But I said, from a moral perspective, from a humane perspective, why did you have to kill her? Why did you have to shoot her? Why did you have to shoot through the windshield and hit her in the head? You didn't have to do that. If you're gifted enough and skilled enough to move to the side, you could have shot out the tire and got her. You didn't have to kill her. And so to me, that was a problem. And I took a lot of heat for that, but it is what it is. My thing with this is, listen, you let over 12 million people, some say 15 million, some people say 20 million, cross the border illegally, okay? That has to change. The borders definitely needed to be closed. I don't backtrack from that one bit. But in the same breath, There's a way that you have to do it. I keep reminding folks, Obama deported 3.1 million people. That at least that number, okay? You barely heard anything about it. Now, some people can point to the media and say, hey, the media was fawning over him, and obviously the leftist media did what it did, et cetera. You even saw features on CNN and other places where they were rolling around with ICE and basically talking about how great of a job they were doing during the Obama administration. Obviously, there are things that are different with Trump, and I understand it. If you're for him, you're for him. If you're against him, you're against him. But there is such a thing as a way to handle it, especially when you consider the climate that we're living in and what have you. And a lot of times when you look at, these officers, these agents for ICE, you're saying to yourself, excuse me, where is your training? And you understand that there are people that are out there. I think there's paid operatives that are out there, trying to distract them and prevent them from doing their jobs. I'm not somebody that walks around here calling them Nazis and bringing up stuff like Gestapos and all of this stuff where even Joe Rogan did that. I'm not about that. But what I will say to you is that the rhetoric from the Trump administration hasn't helped. You see people rushing to judgment. Shut your mouths. Talk about an investigation needing to happen. Talk about how we're going to look into this, what have you. But they've derailed that because when the vice president comes out and immediately takes a stance, when Christy Knowles, who I think needs to step down because I think her in front of a microphone has been a disaster. I think that she, in terms of decorum, in terms of de-escalating situations, in terms of making sure that you're dotting I's and crossing T's before you open your mouth, I don't think she's done that. And I think that she's hurt the administration with how she's handled it. And I think the proof is in the pudding because Tom Homan, your friend, is there in Minneapolis right now speaking as we speak. Now, I've interviewed that man twice. I was on a stage with him on News Nation with Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly and those guys. I've spoken to Tom Homan on several occasions, and I respect the position that he's coming from. He's letting you know what he believes is breaking the law, and those who have broken the law, we're going to catch them and we're going to deport them. He's unapologetic about that and straight up about it. But I don't view him as somebody that's grandstanding. He's served under Obama. He's serving under Trump. He was abhorred by what Biden has done, and he's very, very clear about that. But the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth, I don't deem it to be nearly as irresponsible as Christy Knowles. And those are the kind of things that I think are going to hurt the administration. And one of the things that I told you, I've told Sean Hannity and others, I said the momentum that the GOP was building because of some of the mistakes the Democrats have made, keep this up, y'all going to lose the midterms. And 2028 is going to be in jeopardy because unless the 22nd Amendment is going to be circumvented and Trump is running for a third term, and even that would be iffy at this particular moment in time, whoever's succeeding him ain't Trump. And as a result of that, you're going to have your work cut out for you because people don't know how to act and people don't know how to speak responsibly and people don't know how to really, really exercise the importance of dialogue and making sure you watch what you say and how you make people feel when you're seeing chaos in the streets of America. You got a responsibility to look out for any president in that regard when you are a member of his administration. And I don't think several people have done that. And as a result, I think it's going to potentially cost the GOP.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.